Could the panelists talk for a minute about what are some specific things that people could do in the areas that you're concerned about? What action can they take to get out there and increase youth participation, or to get people involved in politics, or to get people involved in election integrity?
I'll just say something quick. In the wake of the 2020 presidential election, and we were all kind of being vigilant about the fact that they were going to try to steal the election and so on and so forth. And there was and obviously we didn't want that to happen. And we knew that there was a certain clock, if we could get the votes counted and we could get past this certification date and this certification date and this certification date. And there was a whole group of organizations from across Pennsylvania that started getting on conference calls together, and was, ran the gamut from the, ACLU to small little voting. There were maybe 100 organizations that participated in this. And decided that we would all try to be kind of on the same page and try to say the same things. And I think we're incredibly effective. And one of the early decisions that they made, or that we made on those conference calls, and you probably saw people had, my vote counts and those hats that people were wearing and things, was to not engage the big lie directly in order, well, they say the vote was stolen and we say the vote wasn't, and they said whatever, but to just sort of blow past that and say, you know what, we don't want to talk about this. The election is over and we have critical problems that need to be solved in this Commonwealth. We have people who are hungry. We have people who are, so legislators, stop talking about this BS and do the job that we send you to Harrisburg to do, which is to make some laws to make us safe. And that was really engaging to lots and lots and lots of people. We had hundreds of people in those hats and whatever. And I just want to sort of, I guess this is sort of my anthem for this call, is to remember that underneath the story of our voting rights is the story of why people vote, which is not to be a good citizen. I mean, okay, maybe you do it to be a good citizen, but that's not really what motivates most people to vote. And I liked that, and I thought that was valuable, and it's still something that I would like to do. I would still like to see us. There's plenty of need. There's lots of legislators to talk to, particularly, in the majority and we should just be demanding that they act on the stuff that we want to do and stop already with the votes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for election integrity. So first of all, of course, you could become a poll worker. And personally, I love this. I do this. I've been doing this for about 11 years. I'm the judge of election, I like to say, in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood at WQED Studios. And those are my two favorite days of the year. So you could do that, and you could, help to make sure that procedures are followed correctly. They give you training. They have wonderful manuals to help you make sure you're doing the right thing. It's not that difficult, and it's seriously important. Another thing you could do is be a poll watcher. To be a poll watcher in Pennsylvania, you have to have a poll watcher certificate issued either by a party or by a candidate. And sometimes I get certificates. I can't be a poll watcher because I'm a judge of election, so I'm busy on election day. But there are other things that can be observed, various tests and other procedures at the election division headquarters. And I go to some minor candidate, somebody who's running for a fairly minor office, and I ask them to make me their representative for observing that particular procedure. So it's actually pretty easy to do. To get one of these certificates. Not so easy to get it from the party necessarily, because they want to give them to their committee people, but to get it directly from the candidate is not a difficult thing. So that's something else. And Lisa, I'm going to disagree with you on one point, which was saying that people don't vote just out of a feeling of citizenship. And I believe that African Americans in particular do exactly that, that they so clearly see the importance of elections, and it is so ingrained in many of their families that you vote. It's your choice who to vote for, but you vote. In this family, we all vote. And I think African Americans do that to a greater extent, perhaps, than other groups.
In 2020, in addition to, of course, the presidential election, but when we were in the midst of, a national racial reckoning and organizing, people were messaging me up and down, left and right, on how they can get involved, because I think, they tend to believe that you have to hold elected office to hold power, or the only form of, getting your voice heard is demonstrating out on the streets, which absolutely so. But I mean, you, Mac, earlier mentioned that I'm an artist, and I encourage people to find what it is about them that, gets them up in the morning, that they can feel their most authentic self. In addition to, being part of WIDAC and other political hats that I wear, I'm an artist, and I use that as a way to amplify values that we're trying to hold on to dearly. But other people, if they're good at writing, right, you can write a beautiful op-ed and public source, right? We can use social media for good, right? We can, post factual articles and resources for people. People can post videos, right? We might make fun of TikTok, but that's the way that people get information. You can write and make a TikTok about where your nearest polling place is, where to drop off your mail-in ballot, why you should run for Allegheny County Democratic Committee, right? Because I think, we tend to think of the more higher level, sexier positions like, president, governor, senator. But guess what? If you're in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, you can serve on the Democratic Committee in Allegheny County. And that means you have a voice in nominations, right? What is it that you bring to the table of justice? Because that's essentially what we're trying to fight for here when we vote. Voting is, I always say that voting is like a vitamin, right? You can't just rely on vitamins for your wellness, but it's a part of it. You have to contribute to it continuously. So I encouraged people to find what it is about them specifically that they can bring to the table, right? I mean, everybody has to bring an ingredient to the table to have a full meal. So it's not hard, just as Ron said, it's very easy to participate, but it's up to us to demystify that. I think for so long, people may become disillusioned because they feel like it's not for them because it's become so complex over time. And through my role as, WIDAC president, I'm the first Black woman to ever hold that role. And people have come up to me saying that I feel like I now have a place to be and express myself politically because you're president. That means a lot. So whether it's WIDAC president, county committee, US House, we all have an equitable role here to turn the tide. So that's my answer for you.
Great answer.
Thank you.
That's, I think, a great place for us to come to an end here, partially also because we're out of time. Thank you all so much for joining us for this today. And would you like to close, if there's anyone on the call who wants to get in touch with you, to you can give a quick, here's how you can find me, social media, email, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, you are all welcome to become members of the Young Democrats of Allegheny County. We are for 18 to 40-year-olds, but the young at heart. You can find us on Facebook and become a member. Encourage your friends, family to join the family, and hope to see you out in these Democratic streets, whether virtually or in person.
Okay, so Vote Allegheny meets these days, of course, on Zoom every Sunday at 4 p.m. If you're interested in attending one of our meetings or all of our meetings, or just would like to talk to me on the phone, why don't you first get in touch with me by email? That would be rbandes, RBANDES @c9n.com. The letter C, the numeral 9, the letter n.com. That was my former consulting company. And so, yeah, there's lots of things people can do. And Vote Allegheny has a lot of computer scientists. We could use more activists and lawyers and journalists and all kinds of things in our group.
You know, we need everybody. I think our project is not to win this or that election. It's to build a stable majority for the basic policies that most people in our country need. That's an everybody thing. So if you're an everybody, I think the easiest email to remember is all one word, Lisa Beth Frank @gmail. And I'll answer.
Wonderful. And I want to thank my fellow panelists. Lisa, I'm sorry I picked on you.
much.
And,
No.
and Mac.